Brittany Allen is a fictional character played by Hayden Panettiere. Brittany Allen appears in the third movie in the Bring It On movie franchise, Bring It On, All or Nothing. The movie starts out with her gearing up for her senior year of high school and leading the Pacific Vista Pirate cheer squad to another competition win. She soon finds out that her world is about to be flipped upside down due to financial reasons, and that she will be forced to transfer from her suburban neighborhood and fancy school to an inner city school where, instead of being part of the majority, she will be part of the minority. The movie details her trials along the way and how she develops into a better person that is able to make her own decisions and doesn't do things just because of peer pressure. She goes through typical adolescent struggles and is able to find a healthy balance by the end of the movie. For the first event, I went with when Brittany became the cheer captain at Pacific Vista. The school year is just starting and Brittany has just been named cheer captain. Brittany and all of her friends are seniors this year and they're excited about the upcoming Rihanna TV special, but Winnie, Brittany's arch nemesis, is none too happy that she was outvoted for team captain. The typical stereotype, that which is perpetuated across all facets of media, is that high school athletes are very sexually active. This is an ideal perpetuated across all media, but predominantly in teen movies by the term jock. Although male athletes in high school do have a higher rate of sexual activity compared to their non-athletic counterparts, the same cannot be said for females. Females that participate in high school athletics are actually less sexually active than their non-athletic counterparts, according to an article in the European Journal of Sports Science. In regards to adolescent development, those that participate in high school athletics are benefited in every aspect. Not only are those adolescents benefiting physically, but they are also benefiting socially, emotionally, and cognitively as well. Socially, high school athletics helps people get to know others and provides an easy means to do so because they already share a common interest, that specific sport. By being part of a team, it instills in them team before self ideals, which is an underlying trait in our society. We could all benefit from that. Emotionally, athletics serves as an outlet that helps adolescents reduce anxiety and risk of depression. Exercise releases endorphins, and in the famous words of Reese Witherspoon, endorphins make you happy. Physically, athletes are typically in better health condition, excluding those that have sustained multiple head injuries, and their health is one that is maintained over time. The good health achieved by athletes is not one reached by fad dieting sporadically. By staying physical, it helps with muscle and bone development that can be slowed and halted due to a sedentary lifestyle. Cognitively, athletics can be helpful because the brain always has to be alert. Athletics uses many gross motor skills, and the brain has to give those commands for limbs to function. The decreased depression and anxiety puts less stress on the brain, so it is able to develop better. Brittany's relocation to Crenshaw Heights is what I chose for the second event. Brittany comes home from school to find her mom packing up everything in their house. She is still excited from cheer practice, so what her parents are trying to tell her isn't sinking in coherently. Her dad then proceeds to tell her that he has relocated because of downsizing at his job and that they are moving to Crenshaw Heights. This news takes several attempts to get through to Brittany that when he says they, he means the entire family, including her. The catalyst for the events that occurred throughout the movie was Brittany's dad losing his job and the entire family having to relocate to Crenshaw Heights. This movie was released in 2006. The Department of Labor reports that in 2006, the job loss was around 7,000. This is a considerable amount of lost jobs, but it is still considerably lower than the amount of people that lost jobs during the peak of the recession around 2008-2009. These mass layoffs and unemployment require cheaper housing needs, and cheaper housing is usually located in the slums of the inner cities. This creates a type of reverse white flight because many upper middle class socioeconomic families are forced to move back towards the inner city. Inner city schools are typically more violent than average suburban schools. This is due in part because of the many stresses of poverty and the fact that gang problems are finding their way from the streets into the classrooms. The rivalries these students are a part of outside the school building bring unnecessary violence into the realm of education and creates a disruptive and unsafe condition for students to learn. The more people of various culture groups that move into these low socioeconomic neighborhoods, the more issues that seem to arise because one person believes one thing and the other believes something totally different, and neither is willing to budge on which is right. Alongside poverty and gang issues, during adolescence, students are trying to find themselves, and with that brings about some attitude and temperament issues. On her first day, Britney was subjected to walk-through metal detectors, wands, and bag searches. This is an ever-growing trend present in low socioeconomic schools that is meant to deter violence, especially violence carried out with guns and knives. For the third event, I chose when Britney joined the cheer squad at Crenshaw Heights. Before Britney left Pacific Vista, Britney and her friends had a funeral for her cheer stuff, and Winnie made her vow to never cheer again. The first day at Crenshaw Heights, Britney has a run-in with several of the cheerleaders at various points throughout the day. She feels it calling to her, but is torn because she feels it is betraying her old squad and the vow she made to them. She soon realizes, though, that the cheer squad is her people and is the social interest group she most identifies with. Despite what Britney may have preferred, the cheer clique was where Britney was able to find her place at Crenshaw Heights. According to Webster's Dictionary, a clique is defined as a narrow, exclusive circle or group of persons, especially one held together by common interest, views, or purposes. Cliques are prevalent in every school setting from preschool through college, even occasionally present in the workforce. The school setting where cliques are most prevalent is typically high school. Even changing schools, many people join a similar clique than one they were in at their prior school because it is who they are and is the social group they most identify themselves with. This is especially true for athletes because many athletes have put serious time and dedication into their sport, so it has become a huge part of who they are and their identity. Making friends in a new school can sometimes be difficult, but for those that participate in athletics, depending on the sport, it can be helpful because it serves as a way to bond the new person to others. The fourth event I chose to discuss was Britney's breakup with her boyfriend Brad. The night before the Rihanna TV special competition is the homecoming dance for Pacific Vista that Britney had already promised Brad she would attend with him. She decides to lie to her new squad and says that they are having a funeral that night for her dog Nike, so she will have to miss the game, which is when they will have their last practice for the competition. When the captain Camille and the guy Britney has started developing feelings for, Jesse, show up at her house to give their condolences, they discover that she is getting ready to go out to a dance, and they end up kicking her off the team. At the homecoming dance, Brad gives Britney a hotel key, but Winnie takes the moment for homecoming king-queen speeches to tell everyone that her and Brad have been sleeping together. Britney breaks up with Brad right then and happily walks out of the dance and away from that life. Narcissism played a huge factor in the downfall of Britney and Brad's relationship, similarly to many real-life relationships. A narcissist is defined as an extremely self-centered person who has an exaggerated sense of self-importance. One person feeling that their wants and needs are more important than the other person's wants or needs characterizes a narcissistic relationship. When the narcissist is not able to have their wants and needs met, they tend to look outside the relationship. In this case, because Britney wouldn't sleep with Brad, he went outside the relationship to someone who would sleep with him, Winnie. Classic tale of Mr. Joe Cool, high school quarterback, needing to protect his image, so he hooks up with his girlfriend's easy nemesis as soon as his girlfriend isn't around. At the beginning of the movie, it was mentioned that Britney was up for valedictorian for the senior class. Her focus on good grades can be a factor in why she did not want to be sexually active. According to a longitudinal study published in the Journal of Adolescent Health, students with better grades tend to be less sexually active. Compounding this decrease in sexual activity based on her penchant for better grades with the decreased sexual activity due in part to being a female athlete, no wonder Britney was not wanting to have sex. She felt she had more important things to worry about. Her more important worries consisted of winning competitions and getting great grades. For the fifth and final event, I chose when Britney helped Crenshaw Heights win the Rihanna TV special competition. Britney showed up the morning of the competition to try and talk to Camille and get her spot back. While she is talking to Camille, Winnie and the Pacific Vista squad show up. Britney ends up defending the Crenshaw squad, and Camille lets her back on the team. It ends up being Crenshaw Heights Warriors and the Pacific Vista Pirates in the finals. Pacific Vista decides to ditch safety rules, but Crenshaw Heights crashes their routine by storming the floor with crumping and mimicking their routine similar to how Britney had done during her tryouts at Crenshaw Heights until Pacific Vista has vacated the floor. Crenshaw Heights ends up winning. Everyone votes out Winnie as captain at Pacific Vista, including Rihanna, and Britney's new friends and old friends meet and are able to all come together. Britney ends up having an identity achievement. It took her the entire movie, but after grappling with the decision to cheer or never cheer again, she was able to make a decision. Just like Camille stated several times during the movie, Britney needed to pick a team, either the Crenshaw Heights Warriors or the Pacific Vista Pirates. She couldn't keep going between both of them. Throughout the movie, it seems that Britney is always going to run back to the comfort of her former Pacific Vista life, no matter how happy she seems with her life at Crenshaw Heights. The homecoming dance with Brad served as a wake-up call that the perfect idea she had in her head wasn't reality. Not anymore anyways. Once this realization sunk in, she was able to make a commitment, one that had her committing to Crenshaw Heights, which was her actual life now. Many people typically alternate between an identity moratorium and identity achievement. Identity moratorium is when an adolescent is in a crisis and exploring different commitments, but has not made a commitment yet. And identity achievement is when a student has went through an identity crisis and has made a commitment to a sense of identity. Britney having to uproot her life and going from top dog to a nobody was her identity crisis. When she finally cast off the Pacific Vista cloud that had been hanging over her the entire movie, she was able to finally fully embrace being a Crenshaw Heights Warrior and what it meant to be that.